Hello everyone. It's great to be back in the shop this week, and I hope to get some quality work done on my Porsche restoration project. This week I'm going to split my time between block sanding and the weld-in strut brace, the homemade one. I've been away for a few weeks. I opened up the hood and I found a surprise inside. You know, rust never sleeps. So I'm going to deal with that first. So let me show you how. So when I came back in and opened the hood, I noticed that the areas that I had done some seam welding on is starting to get a little bit rusty. So I'm going to clean this up before it gets too bad. It's not bad, it's just, you know, some surface rust, but because I've been away for a few weeks, I need to take care of that now. And then this week I'm going to be welding in the strut brace right up here on this tower.
Garage time.
Also, when I was away, my YouTube channel hit 1,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. I'm extremely grateful for each of you who have not only chosen to watch a video, but to hit that subscribe button. So that signals to YouTube that you think this content is valuable, and that allows me to reach more people. So once again, thank you very much. I enjoy doing this, and I hope you see the value. The only thing that may change is there might be an advertisement in the beginning of each video. You can skip it after 3 seconds, or if you watch it, it helps sustain this channel. So it helps me cover some of the production costs and equipment costs associated with making these videos. Now, the feedback I've had so far is that people are learning things and they're getting out in their garage and they're doing similar projects. And that's what I'm all about. I want to take this basket case and turn it into something that is inspirational for all of you. So thanks again for watching. Let's get to work. Okay, to get rid of the rust, I like to use this DuPont CF5717S metal conditioner. And I just use a little bit of steel wool and gently rub it on, and the rust basically comes off, and it puts some kind of protective layer on the metal. So if it's left bare metal for a while, it doesn't get too rusty. So I'm going to go ahead and put some gloves on and start getting the rust taken care of before we start welding. Okay, I got a little carried away cleaning. I did put some simple green in the stiff brush just to get some of the undercoating down here a little bit cleaner. You know, the goal here is to get some epoxy primer in the interior trunk area as soon as possible so this rust doesn't happen again. But of course I have to finish welding, and that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, last time I worked on this, I had trimmed this piece so it fits pretty well. Now I did make sure, I'm not sure if I'm going to run the stock electrical panel here, but I did make sure there's enough space between here, and this is the screw to attach the electrical panel, and the bracket. There's plenty of clearance. So this is where it's going to go. So now I just need to remove some paint so I can mark the welds and put it on. Looking for the best alignment on this bracket. There's a little drain at the bottom, and it has to straddle the drain. So I have it straddling the drain, and then I also have it so it's at the lowest point of this seam. There's like a little natural valley there, and that's centered on the lowest point. And then I have it sort of centered on the strut. Now the strut is adjustable because it's meant to be adjustable. So I have it roughly centered in the hole where the strut goes, but not too far over so it doesn't interfere with the electrical panel. Okay, like it or not, it's in there for good. I followed the same 25mm stitch welding pattern, and I don't know if you can tell, but I left a small little hole right there in case any water gets in there, which is, you know, unlikely, but that's the water drain. I welded it down at the bottom for some extra strength, and there's the similar welds on the back side. It's too dark to see it in the camera, but there you go. So if you remember from a previous video, I welded an 1/8" plate on top of the strut tower. You can see the welds right here. So on the other side, this is without the plate welded on top. So I have the plate cut out. I just need to form it into the right curvature and clamp it in place like I did the driver's side and get that installed before I can put the other strut tower brace in. Okay, I spent the last 20 minutes looking for the plate that I had cut out probably 6 weeks ago for the strut tower top, that plate. I just can't find it. I do have the template, so rather than spend another 20 minutes looking for it, I'm just going to cut another one out with a plasma cutter and keep moving forward. I know it's here somewhere. Okay guys, I'm not doing as much narration on this side because this is the second time I've done that. If you're interested in more details about this shock tower plate, please click on the link just right here. But a couple notes, it's important to get, this is a compound curvature on this plate, so it's important to get as much of that done as possible using the hammer and the big rotor or any other forming tools you can sort of scrounge together. And then the other key on this job is to use a camber plate. This happens to be an extra one that I have. And what I do is I clamp this to the car with the camber plate underneath as it would be in the actual installation. And that draws things down tight, allows me to weld the sides which are fitting well, and then hammer the rest down. So that's the only trick. A little weld through primer is always a good idea. Okay, I got this strut bar bracket trimmed up against the body really tight. It fits really well. I have it taped in place. It is ready to weld on. However, if you remember from a previous video, I had mentioned that I was going to do a diagonal bar. So a diagonal bar from the top of that strut down to the bottom of this one. So there'll be a bar that goes across the top horizontal and then a diagonal bar down to the bottom. That may interfere with the smuggler's box, so I'll deal with that later. But I want to put the tabs on the bracket so that I have something to attach the diagonal bar to. Okay, I just made these nifty little tabs to go on the bottom of this bracket, kind of like that. And I was getting ready to weld them on, but as I was making them, I realized that, you know, maybe it's smarter to put these on the driver's side so that the diagonal bar doesn't interfere with the smuggler's box as much. So let me show you on the car. The issue that I'm up against is as the bar goes from there to here, as this door opens, it's going to run into it because I wanted the strut bars to be in line with the struts, and this just happens to get in the way. So if it comes down to this lower corner, it's going to touch on this bottom, and it's only going to open about this far. Although if I go from here to there, it'll open almost 90 degrees as it comes from here down to that corner. It's not going to interfere as much, so it's going to open another, I don't know, maybe 5-10 degrees more if I put these tabs on that side. Now, the only downside to doing that is that that side is already welded on, so it's going to make adding the tabs a little more difficult, but you know, that's what you get for designing as you go. Yeah, I just tacked these in with a stack of washers in between the plates, trying to keep them parallel. And I think I'm going to come back and try to do a nicer job on this with a TIG welder. Okay, next week I'm going to do some more testing on the effectiveness of the strut bar brace, the bar that goes between. So like I did for the seam welding, I'm going to measure the torsional rigidity and see if the strut bar actually makes a difference. Now, my hunch is that the strut bar is not intended to really increase the torsional stiffness, but it does do other things, and I have a host of measurements that I want to try to determine, you know, what it does, how effective is it, and is it a worthwhile upgrade. So please tune in next week. That test is coming your way. I did not have enough time today to get to the body work. I will get some work done over the weekend, but it's just not going to make it in time for this video. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you next week. Take care.